VODAN Africa. As always, I'm sharing the agenda today in the chat box, and as always, try to keep your mic muted during the presentations to prevent background noises. If you have any questions while the presentation is going on, please type them in the chat box and we'll bring them up after the presentation is finished. We'll have a question and answer at the end of the session. So I'll now hand over to you, Prof. Miriam.
Yeah, good to see everybody. And I've seen again that a lot of progress is being made. So I'd say let's go and look at the timeline and where we are on that to see when we can start the pilots. I heard that a lot of progress was made also in relation to the queries. So I think we are getting very close. So I look forward to the reports back.
I think Aliyah can now take the floor on the project timeline.
Hi everyone, good to see you. So basically regarding the project timeline, yeah, yesterday we had a very nice meeting together with the technical team, and we have also identified some gaps that we need to also address. And also we have raised some issues that we are facing these days. So John helped us and guided us on that one. So I think on the timeline, we are still up to date. Yeah, so Miriam, I think you're muted.
Aliyah, is it possible to show an adapted timeline, or maybe to do that at the end of the meeting when we get all the reports back? Because I think we should see the timeline and so that we know what it means. Is that possible?
Yeah, I can share it by the end of the meeting.
Okay, that is good. And Mariam, can you share the agenda in the WhatsApp, or I can also do that, I think. Managing this. Putu or somebody, can the agenda be put in the chat box?
Yeah, bro.
So then you can continue with the next item is the bulk input, I think, Mariam. Oh, and I have one more question for Aliyah. Aliyah, the gaps to be addressed, what are these gaps?
Basically, this is bulk input and also dashboards. So Professor Francesca advised a member from the colleague of Oluwole. So he is specialized on that one. So we are going to have an initial call tomorrow with this person, and then he's going hopefully he is going to also be within the team and also escalate the process. And also if I speak regarding the dashboards, so we have also divided some work between Oluwole and Olras yesterday at the separate meeting, where Olras took the responsibility on the backend part, where we connect the queries part. So, and Oluwole stays on the front end, where he's basically presenting all the KPIs which is necessary. Olras is providing the data that should be stored at database and then passed to the front end. So that's the one update. So it's basically one of the tasks that Oljas is also doing, like checking the proof of concept on the queries. So that's why at some level this is overlapping. So that's why it's also very helpful. He is participating in the dashboards and also helping us in that one.
Okay. And so what do you think will that mean for the timeline? If he is, I mean, you have an initial conversation tomorrow, then you constitute a new team of Oluwole, Oljas, and the new addition. So what does that mean for, have you got any idea of the timeline related to that?
Well, I think it also depends from the like capabilities of the new person. So how he can escalate. But if I speak, I mean, like in terms of the team that we already have, so it basically, so Oljas is resolving some issues on the queries part, and yesterday we had a like explicit conversation on this one together with John, and hopefully in 1 or 2 weeks, I think it will be resolved. So, and then the queries part on the backend, probably we can provide some results on this one.
Yeah. All right. So in 2 weeks' time, then we are on the 14th of December.
Yeah.
So do you, I mean, what is the possibility then for doing the pilot before the Christmas break?
Well, I think we need to also discuss this one then, because we had a lack of people on the dashboards part, and I also joined it like a few weeks ago, and then we were relying on other people, and now it's like it's different situation right now.
Yes. So what have Professor Francesca and Oluwole said in this regard?
In terms of the timeline, right?
Yeah.
Well, we haven't discussed the timeline yet. I mean, like separately. So we're mostly focused on the things that we do now.
Okay. Let's go through the whole list then, and then we'll come back to the timeline.
Okay.
Okay. So next on the agenda, we have the inputs to the DHIS. So I'll give an update on this. We're currently in talks with Nurullah and Ridwan on how to basically integrate the algorithm with the SIDA image. And also we're putting the fact that, okay, we're also considering the different DHIS system instances, and also trying to ensure that the data is basically interpretable with the various DHIS implementation. But of course, we're starting with the Ugandan instance. And also we're currently looking at how the individual DHIS implementation partitions the data. And that's the current update on this.
So what is your timeline for the completion for the testing then, Mariam?
Well, we're hoping to figure this out, hopefully during this week, and then hopefully be done with it by within 2 weeks' time.
I don't know if this is a confident measure. I mean, how do we click the things together if there is so much uncertainty about the time?
Also, the other limitation was the fact that the server is not yet ready, and I actually just communicated with Fons, and he said that this would be ready next week. So that is also kind of yeah, the other situation.
But that relates to what part of the of what being ready? Is that related to the DHIS output?
Yes, because we intend to integrate this with the SIDA image.
But okay, that is important. But have you tested the DHIS output?
Yes, but with the DHIS demo instance, not with the actual DHIS instance within the facility.
Okay, and when are you planning to do that?
To do the test within the facility?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it would actually require the management personnel, the data management personnel within the facility to do that, because we do not have access to the DHIS instance within the facility.
So the order here is to assume that it works, put it in the image, and then install it, and then see if it works.
No. We're planning. We had a meeting with the data management personnel at KIU, but we intend to have another one to just basically understand how the data is basically divided. Yeah, basically partitioned.
I'm not following you.
So currently, we've only tested it with the DHIS demo instance because that's what we have access to. We don't have access to the instance within the facility.
I cannot really understand the steps, Mariam, and then I don't really understand where we are at what point in which process.
Currently, we're trying to figure out how we're going to expand our knowledge on the partitioning of the current instance used within the facility. And to do that, we plan to have another meeting with the data management personnel, because that's the only way we can basically see how the DHIS really works.
Yeah, okay, so you're going to have that conversation, and then what other steps do you see still?
Well, the other step would now be for the data management personnel to try this tool, to try the algorithm with the instance within the facility.
Okay. Shall we go to the next point?
So next on the agenda is the development of queries. I think August is on the call.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Mariam. Professor, yes, as we said, there is no problem with the query. Query actually works. Only thing that we have like a problem of making a local point available, like visible to the other machines. There is no explicit answer. Yesterday we discussed with John, and he gave direction, and there is many ifs in the to go there, but that's why like there is no certainty. But still, if it works, then it can be working one day. But also there is a risk that cannot be done in the quickly. But yeah, like we are working on that. There is like also some steps, but at least I just want to make my local machine at least visible, then make query. There is no problem with the query. I mean, I'm just repeating it. So that's our current status. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that what I saw in the emails is that basically it is now some very technical work to connect the local points, and then in that end the data visiting can be started to be tested within the installed points. Yeah, that's very.
And also there is some like yeah, we're just trying to make a minimum viable product. Like now I will do it for one machine, but when you adding more machine, then other like block points will appear. But yeah, now I'm just working on the making at least one machine available to the like make it visible. So
yeah. But that means that Oljas, if we start the data production, some data production in places where the localized version is installed, then we could do a test of the MVP in a reasonably short time. At least that should be possible before Christmas, isn't it?
yeah, I think so. Yeah. Because there is no problem with the like Cedar point at all. There's only the thing that we should understand the steps, how to connect them to local, how to make it publicly. So I think we can even start like making some import export of data locally, but then we will make settings regarding the network. So
yeah. But then I thought that under this point, the development of the queries, we are actually, or what I had in mind was the development of the queries according to the data points as they were defined by Putu in the meeting on the aggregate data points for the, well, let's say, first of all, for the internal dashboards. That is a different work than the localization of the local points.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah, so I thought that that point was a point that Mariam was working on. Personally, that was my thinking.
Yeah, I'm actually working on that. Well, currently, I do not have the right equipment to actually do the local deployment on my machine. I hope to do this next week, but I'm currently working with the web CIDA system. And basically I've started populating the templates with mock data. And yeah, that's currently where I'm at.
But the development of the queries is then to identify within the CDAR system how to get to the data points that have been identified by Putu for the dashboard. So that's a computational question, isn't it?
But it requires like data as well. And also because we're using the locally deployed CDAR system, then the queries are basically done within the facility, like just within the facility.
Yeah, but what I mean to say is that we need to develop the queries so that they can then be included in the dashboard.
Here's the thing that just make sure that you're asking that there will be like many data points, and we should make query from all of them, right? Then visualize it in dashboard, right? Is it?
Yeah. So for instance, I'm doing by heart, but I think that one of the points that all of the facilities wanted was the number of outpatients per day.
Yeah.
And that is then accumulative or whatever. I mean, first of all, what that exactly means in what is going to be visualized needs to be properly described. Outpatients per day means what? Does it mean that the outpatients per day that are being registered in each day and only visualized for that day, or is it accumulative over the week or over the month or over the year? So what does it mean? And then if that has a meaning, then how is that derived from the data? And you did it in query form in the previous proof of concept, but I think here you are using now the CDAR system to do that, but you still need to translate it into something that delivers that computed outcome that then can be visualized in the dashboard. So it is that task that needs to be carried out.
Well, to be able to do the queries, I would still need to have mock data within the CDAR system, because I need to be able to basically use the different identifiers for the different mock data instances that have been created using the template. So the idea here would be if, let me say, the number of outpatients, then let me say the facility has entered patient 1, then patient 2. So of course, then the query would need to do kind of like a count of the number of entries that have been entered. Yeah, within the locally deployed system. Yeah.
So
yeah, can I just add? Yeah, I think with the query there is no, it shouldn't be a problem. The query will be the same actually. The and the aggregation is can be done like customizable after because the query is actually just fetching the data, and aggregation can it's done after like post-processing things. So yeah, I think it shouldn't be a problem with it won't take more like a lot of time to do. So if you're worrying that we will need like other queries, that I mean, the query actually will be almost the same as what we are doing now. So,
but there needs to be somebody who is going to work out what the queries mean and which and what it means for which data being fetched and how you fetch them. Like for instance, if we would look at the top 5 diagnoses for outpatients, then how that query is made Doesn't somebody need, basically my question is, Putu has identified a general idea of the data that are going to be presented on the local dashboards. So somebody needs to take those data and see what that means in terms of fetching the data that will then be visualized.
Okay, yeah, sure, I can do it. Actually, yeah, it shouldn't be a problem for me. Yeah,
Oh, okay. So
I can
you
look
think
at
that you will do that? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. But then what is expected of Mariam then in this, because she also thinks that she's doing this.
Yeah.
I think we will have meeting like yesterday. You said like Mariam.
Yeah. We need to have,
It's better to have like meeting together, like all you and me. Yeah, I think then we can also like split the tasks and
yeah.
go deeper to this task
And also, let me add on top of this one. And also, we should consider a new team member on the dashboards, who is also going to work on the front end. Basically, what are you discussing now? It's like visualization, which is front end, displaying, like fetching data from the data repository and displaying, right? Like the diagnosis or whether it's patients. And we have a new team member, and yeah, we also need.
But Aliyah, I think that the step that you are not taking into account is that the display on the dashboard, that is a technical question. But in between there, you have to make a question about the query, which has both a content and a technical component. And that has to do with the real time in which you do this, whether the data is cumulative or you replace them, do you replace them for every new day or do you accumulate them? So the interpretation of what that data point means is a job. And I don't know, maybe Putu can also be involved in that. But do you see what I mean? You could have the outpatients presented for this facility accumulated over the whole year and then distributed by week or by month or whatever. Or you could do it in another way. I think that the new team member is not going to make that decision because he's not been involved in all of that. That's really a substantive decision. So I think that needs to, it probably needs to have an involvement of Putu to check that this is what would be the best representation of the data. But it also needs somebody who then reflects on which data is fetched.
Yeah, I agree. I was saying that we should also consider a new member on the front end, but yeah, I got your point. I understand. Yeah.
And then, for instance, say if you had a data point of the number of outpatients divided by gender or divided by age group. That is not just fetching data. You need to organize how you fetch the data. So when for me, that was in point C, the development of the queries is like the general idea of what the data is that we are portraying on the dashboard has come from Putu and the country coordinators. But now what is the whole trajectory of knowing these are the data points? What is the whole trajectory between that and what we will eventually portray? And the visualization is only the very last part of that.
Yeah. So by visualization, I mean taking the data from the data repository and showing it in the query. And also, I think we should also consider on the minimum viable product where we just present the very basic KPIs, not going advanced level so this is my point.
Yeah, that I think is correct. But even if it is not advanced level, you're still making decisions in these KPIs.
Yeah.
So, and are you guys clear then of, so you have the new team member, then Oljas, Alia, Putu, who has collected these points. So then are you going to figure out then with Mariam where she fits into this? Because I think that there needs to be preparatory work done of what data are going to be fetched in what way that is given to this new person. I don't think that the new person is doing that because the new person is programming. He's not developing the queries.
Yeah, we'll figure this out. Yeah.
I would probably then be customizing the queries to what's put to laid out in the meeting last.
In the requirements, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay, then so then I will leave that with you. So Oljas, particularly with Mariam, and then with you, Aliyah, and the new person.
Yep.
Yeah, sure.
So the next, we can go to the next point, Mariam.
Okay, so next on the agenda, we have data use agreements for the facilities, and Putu is on the call. So,
Yeah, thanks, Mariam. So yesterday we discussed about the agreement. So I need a direction for this, Professor Miriam, because when I discussed with field coordinator about this agreement, so the Ministry of Health basically wants to have a demonstration of the system and then can sign the agreement. So right now we only have we can have 3 sign, but except Ministry of Health, but different case with Somalia, because in Somalia we can have all of the sign, but for KIU and also for Kenya and for Nigeria, I guess the Ministry of Health need demonstration before sign the document. So what do you think, Prof? Or we need to discuss this tomorrow?
I don't know what the country coordinators think. One possibility would be to, since it's a research project, to do it with the 3 parties as a research project, and then explain in the data use agreement that the minimal viable product will be demonstrated to the ministry, to then decide with the ministry what the next expectation will be. Reginald, would that be a solution?
I think it's a good point, Professor, because, okay, for the case of Kenya, the agreement is that we start from the grassroots. If it works, then the ministry has no problem. So we're building from the grassroots upward. And then we have the Nairobi Metropolitan who are on board, who are actually Ministers of Health. So Kelvin will have to demonstrate that this is what we're doing and this is what we need to do. There should not be any problem. So that's how I look at it, Professor. Thank you.
And Ibrahim, would this work for you as well?
Yes, Professor. I look forward to adopting what is happening in Kenya. As we are all aware, the ministries are aware of what we're doing. And from our selection, it's also a rural placement ahead of the urban settlements. So this will also work for us. Thank you, Prof.
Okay, that is good. Then, Reginald, would it be okay for you to send this around the country coordinators as the proposal to go forward? I don't know if Wandimu actually, I see Wandimu is here, wants to speak to this as well. Wandimu. If he has good connection.
Hello, Prof.
Yeah.
Thank you. Maybe we can discuss in detail maybe tomorrow in country coordinator meeting. So let us give assignment to Dr. Reginald and then he will facilitate that one. I think that would be good.
Yeah, okay. Reginald, if you can coordinate either a meeting or in writing with the country coordinators, this proposal that we use the 3 signatures, but we include in the data use agreement the obligation once the minimal viable product is ready, that it is demonstrated to the ministry for further discussion on the way forward, right? That is the proposal.
Yes, that's perfect, Professor. That's okay.
Yeah.
I'll do that.
Okay, excellent. Okay, Putu, then let's check with country coordinators through Dr. Reginald if this is the right way forward. And then we can start putting the data use agreement together.
Okay, Bro Miriam. Thanks. Back to you, Mariam.
Thank you, Putu, for the update. So next on the agenda, we have front-end health facilities dashboard. I think
we have discussed that, right?
Yeah, that was covered. Then the back end as well, the aggregate VODAN dashboard, deploying SIDA locally in multiple African settings to inventorize different problems that come up on different systems. I don't know.
I think it has been done. I mean, Anambobi has deployed now. So I don't know who exactly has deployed, but I think that this is being Oluwola is dealing with the onto portal problems.
Yeah.
What are the problems there that are being discovered? Olshas, do you understand the problems that Oluwola is dealing with onto portal?
Yes, I mean, he's not having issue, but just his workload is too he has busy days, so he just need to delegate some parts. Otherwise, he doesn't.
But what is the problem that he is having with onto portal? Because I see a lot of discussion with the CEDAR technicians on it.
I think it's only regarding this querying data and that part. From meeting that we discussed yesterday, that was a main point, main topic.
Okay, then the test queries we had discussed, I think.
And then the installation manual for the locally installed SIDA system for the VODAN technicians. That one is ready. And then the manual for data protection, data input for the data clerks. I think we've actually been giving the data clerks training, and I believe also after the proof of concepts, we'll have another training for those that will need it. I don't know if I've covered that part really well. Sorry.
The question here is if we are expecting in the pilots for data to already be put in, then somebody needs to look at the manual for the data production, but maybe it's too early still.
Yeah. Okay. Then the next on the agenda, we have the training bits, the training required for whom. That's probably for the data clerks.
That's for Putu. Putu, you know this point.
Yeah, Prof, just like I said, still same update from me, just like I said from the previous week, the country coordinator already identify, for example, like in Ethiopia, health information technician, from Kenya, it is a data steward, and also from Uganda is also data steward, and from Nigeria is also data steward. So but my question is, what can we do for now other than identify the person, or are we planning to have a workshop or something like that? Because what we need to do right now is maybe to finalize the pilot, and then we can do a planning for the training for the data steward from each country. So
yeah, makes sense.
what do you think?
That makes sense. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, that's
Thank you, Putu. And then next on the agenda, we have the manual backup system.
This is with Ronald. But Ronald was here, but I think he was disconnected. So maybe somebody needs to just check with him if he can provide, when he can provide this.
Okay. You can check with them.
And then there also is the question of the data encryption. So the data that are reposited in the containers in the health facility, are we going to encrypt them? Who is looking at that question?
It's also Ronald. From
Ronald.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then next we have the specifications and requirements for the local deployment and associated budgets. Alia?
Well, I think from the last week, I have already provided the specification and requirements and also budget. And I don't have much update from that one. I don't know if there was something from the country coordinators meeting.
Okay, thank you, Alia. Next, we have testing the proposed equipment. I guess that will be done after the equipment has been received by the facilities.
Mariam, can I speak about?
Yes, yes, of course, we do. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I want to speak about the purchase strategy. I think previous week, Professor Miriam talked in the country coordinator that country coordinator should discuss with Professor Francisca. So basically, I think Professor Miriam, so the country coordinator needs to know how's the procedure. For example, like how the so like does the country coordinator should check the price on the each country, or get the budget from Professor Francisca and then just buy from the requirements. So I think we need to sort out this quickly, Prof. Miriam, because so we can know the procedure, so the country coordinator have a clarity for this.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
I think that I mean, we really need to have Professor Francesca for a lot of these things. The thing that we still don't know on the specification of the requirements is which computer, etc. So it needs further information to finalize it. So I will be in touch with Francesca and see. There are a lot of these things are almost done, but they are not completely done. So she had another meeting today, but it is a bit of a pity because we need her to tie them up. So I'll talk to her and see how we do this.
So last meeting, she actually suggested that this would be done per country coordinator, because if all the computers are bought within one country, then
the point is not, yeah, the point is not about the purchasing, but the point is what to purchase. So is it HP, is it Dell, is it what? Because if we don't use the same requirements, then we might have different problems than if you have the same hardware. So I think that the agreement was that we buy the same hardware, but the question is which hardware? And then I think the next is, can we buy them on the local market or not? That then needs to be checked.
And then next on the agenda, we have the troubleshooting team, monitoring and implementation. Oh, before that, the installation and deployment response in country health facilities. That will be after the deployment.
This is the deployment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So next on the agenda, we have an update of the country coordinators meeting by Dr. Reginald.
Yeah, thank you, Mariam and the team. We can only encourage you to continue doing what you're doing. When we met, I think the 4 points have been well covered. Dashboards, VODAN dashboard and health facilities, type of computer, specifications. I think Professor Miriam had mentioned if the price is 700, can we lower it, and where do we purchase? And this point is very well covered now. The type of computer, and we have the same uniform computer, but then what is the specification we're looking for that is common to all of us? Can it be sourced locally? And then the other one was the agreements, which have been discussed. How do we go about it? And then the last one was the training. So we have covered most of the points, and I'll follow up with the last question about the 3 signatories, and then we demo, and then we can be able to meet the Minister of Health. That one I'll follow up tomorrow. So I think that's the summary, what is coming out of the country coordinators meeting. But just to encourage everybody, it's good exercise, very demanding, but we have to keep going. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Reginald, for the detailed update. Last but not least, we have an update on the special issue by Misha.
He's not here. He's currently checking whether all the first authors have sent the authorization form. And the first article has been written, and VODAN is doing now a first review of that. So getting closer. There's still some task to do in the interrelationship between the different articles, so that we still need to look at. And then I think all of that of the first special issue will be done, and it will go out before Christmas.
Wow, amazing. And then do we have any questions or any other business?
I have a question whether, is it possible to keep you, Alia, Oljas, Putu and Mariam for 5 minutes after the meeting?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
And then I wanted to say thank you for everybody for this magnificent job on these on that article and the signatures. That was really, really nice. And I hope, Obina, are you still planning to do an article on that?
Yeah, I've started working on it, but I'm still waiting for your feedback on the quotes you promised to send me.
You're waiting for something from me?
Yeah, you promised to give me a quote, a particular quote.
Ah, okay. All right. I'll send those then.
Okay.
Okay. All right, then thank you very, very much for this meeting. And I hope there will be a lot of progress in the next week and that many will be here next week so that we can really tie things up before Christmas. And thank you, Mariam, for chairing and the others for the support behind that. Thanks a lot. Over to you, Mariam.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Miriam. Thank you, everyone, for attending this session. And as always, the video recording of the session will be available this week in YouTube and WhatsApp. Have a lovely evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, Ernest.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye, Ibrahim.